show, we opened this by interviewing Akona Ndungane, and we thought it's criminal not to involve the other twin. This is a man who, where I'm from, and by chance I got to actually know that Lotado was Mthatha, born and raised in Eastern Cape. When we look at always the folklore of rugby people in our province of Eastern Cape, the Ndungane twins come to everybody's lips. These are gentlemen who have walked so that Abo Gria can run, Abo Bashu can run, and all amongst accomplished names and accomplished rugby talents. So this is a man who we're going to get into his career and some inside info as to how, a man who schooled in Hudson Park, but also went on to become a legend in the game. And I know people use the word legend so loosely, but this right here, and this guy, it's very interesting because he was in a province, predominantly an Afrikaans province, till this day, and he played over 100 games, and he is amongst the top guys who have played more than 100 games for a club, which is a feat, rugby players, even now at school, dream of. And Springbok, 2007 World Cup winner. He got the medal, and for those who don't know who I'm talking to none other than Mr. Akona Ndungane. Tata, a very good morning and welcome.
Nice intro, my brother. Yes, and thank you for having me. Looking forward to the chat.
So what I like to ask is, Tata, has your story been told before? Because I mean, there's a bunch of accolades that I didn't mention, and we'll get to that. But has your story been told before?
Yeah, I think we've had a couple of interviews, spoken to journalists and, podcasts and all of those media places. And I think sometimes, especially when we finish playing, we got to sit down and just, look back at what we've achieved and what we've done. But I never get tired of telling the story. It's something that brings very good memories and, a time in my life where, life was tough, but, enjoyable, challenging. But you get to learn and grow a lot as a person during those times.
And let's speak about some of those times. We started from the beginning, born and raised in Mthatha, and your brother has spoken how your mother wanted you guys to move to East London, and Hudson was the school. But little did I know you guys had actually applied at Dale College.
Correct.
What would have that been like had you gone to DC?
It's a very interesting story. We know Dale College is a very good school. It's
100%.
produced a lot of good players. And I think at the time, it was one of the top schools in the EC. But, life sometimes has ways of working itself out that you didn't expect. Hudson Park was not known for sport at the time. And I think, for us going there was a way of putting Hudson Park in the map. And if you look at Hudson Park now, it's one of the top schools that are performing. It's producing a lot of good black players. I'm not saying it's because of what we did, but I think, a lot of people, got to notice the school. There was a player called Dale Hartman who was also at Hudson Park who played Springbok Sevens. So now I'm sure it's going to produce a lot more Springboks because of how the school has actually taken the sport to another level. They've invested in the sport because they saw what it does when, you've got players that, can go far and take the game to the level that you expect it to go. But I think, we applied at Dale, yes, but we were not accepted. we don't know what would have been, but we're very grateful that we went to Hudson Park. We got to learn a lot. We made friends there, and our journey was different. And it's a journey that we enjoyed. So we're not having any regrets.
I mean, I'm just sad. Attending a younger Queens, guys.
Chief, no.
Like,
oh no. Yeah, Queens. I think for me, as a guy that played sport, I played rugby. Boys' school is it's special. Watching from outside. The way they prepare, they sing songs, the way they support their teams. I think it's one of the things that if you go to a college school, you wish you had, because you look from the outside and you like admire that. It's a thing that as a rugby player you always wish you had been part of, but sometimes things don't work out the way you want. But it was always nice watching the rivalry between Dell College, Selborne, and Queens. But like I said, it happened the way it did for whatever reason that God had in mind. And from me going to Hudson Park and seeing all those rivalries between Selborne and Dale, it was something that you enjoy. And I think to be honest, I would like my boy to experience that, because I think it's something special that you can never take away from anyone. But you never know. He might choose to go to a college school as well. So the decision is all his.
I wish. I'm as an old boy at Queens. I need to tell them, by hey guys, we missed one.
Yeah.
We missed one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast forwarding to, yes, you played for Border Bulldogs, you played for EP, which that was very interesting because your brother took another turn to that. So when that call came from the Bulls, like, talk me through that. Like, what was that like?
But firstly, before I go there, did Oda tell you how I got to PE?
Oh, please, by all means. He just told me that.
I understand why you wouldn't share that story. So we played, under 21 for Border, and we played with very good players, Otaga Mangweni and the likes. And the head coach for Border then was Kobus van der Merwe. So Kobus wanted to sign me to give me a senior contract, and unfortunately he bumped into Odo in the corridors, Border Stadium, and he said, "Hey, listen, Akona, I want to sign you, so come, let's go to the office." And Odwa, being Odwa, saw the opportunity and went in and signed. And unfortunately for me, I had to go a different route. So that's when Eastern Province came and they said, "Listen, we'll give you a contract." So I went to PE for 2 years, and it was a nice experience. And I know Oda will never tell the story, but
mistaken identity.
Exactly. So, but then again, I went back to Border, played 2 or 3 seasons, and then the call from Benny Stradom, who was the manager then, asking me to go through for trial in Pretoria. It was a scary call, and purely because, if you're in the Eastern Cape and you're Eastern Cape boy, you know that you're there with your friends, your family is close by, and then going to Pretoria, a big city, is a scary thought for any youngster who hasn't been away from the family for so long. So fortunately for me, Odwa had been at the Bulls for a season in 2004. So I gave him a call. I was like, "Hey, Chief, the Bulls are knocking. What do you think?" And his first words were, "You're going to enjoy it. It's different, but, the standards are, way above than what we've been used to. And if you want to, become a Bok one day, that's the place to be." And for me, I just told my parents that, "Listen, the Bulls are asking for me to go up. Let's make a plan." So fast forward, came to the Bulls, and the guys were still thinking that it's Odwa. So, "Hey, Odwa, how are you? knowing me, I was like, okay, Johan, I'm okay. How are you? And I think, what helped me as well in that journey, sometimes God does things that you don't understand, but later stage you understand. So I was in PE for 2 years, right? And PE, Afrikaans is a language that is spoken there. And it sort of helped me to, understand the language a little bit because Pretoria is just Afrikaans. So I was able to fit in better than I think I would have had I stayed in border for that time. So, I think now that route for me to go to PE first and come back and then go to border was for me to sort of understand the language and understand the culture. So it sort of made things slightly easier. But, looking back, the years that I spent in Pretoria was one of the best years of my life.
I mean, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head the players you played with: Bucky's, Gary Porter,
Yeah.
Victor Matfield, Stefan. You've got arguably one of the best scrum offs, Fourie du Preez. You worked with the two fly-offs in Mornay Steyn and Derek Hoogaard. Like, talk to me about that. Like in training and you just around stars.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why I decided to go, because at the time Victor Matfield was a Springbok, Bucky's Border was a Springbok, and for any player you want to be around those players. The way you guys train is different. The way you guys talk is different. Your mind just goes to another level. The way you think, the way you prepare for games, so you grow as a player as well. And I remember there was a game where we played against the Cheetahs in the Currie Cup final, where we were dominating everyone during the whole season. And, at training, you go through your phases, but you just feel like you're unstoppable. No team can actually do anything different to upset you guys. And that's the way that we're playing. We're just pulling everyone because we had the forwards, we had the backs, and sometimes, as they always say, you learn a lot from your failures. We lost the final in the last minutes of the game by a mistake of the most experienced people, Fourie du Preez and Johan Roots, and then Meyer Bosman picked up the ball and went to go score. But, you look at the learnings we took from that. We won 3 Super Rugby titles, we won Currie Cups, and because it's a feeling that as any player you don't want to experience because you know how painful it is. So having those type of players around you was something special, and I think you want, and that's what I see now with this current Bulls side. What Jake has done, he's brought in a lot of experience and exciting youngsters because that's what you need. You need a very a good depth of players in your squad that are able to come in, and if there's an injury or there's a Springbok call-up, you're able to fill in and keep the standards to where they are. So it's exciting times now for the Bulls, and I think looking back at our time, those glory years where we're winning trophies and playing well and making the people of Pretoria very proud to support the Bulls. So I think there's a bit of similarities with the current crop now, but the only thing, the downside about the Bulls side at the moment is, and I understand people are going through a lot in terms of financial stability and not in the same spot as it were a couple of years ago, when you had filled stadiums, 50,000 people coming out every weekend. But I think the support is still there. And unfortunately, supporters want to watch a winning side. And I think that's what the Bulls are doing. So slowly, I'm sure we'll start to see people creeping into the stadium and having those full stadiums again. Because I think that's what everyone wants to see, and the players as well.
100%. And you are one of them. I mean, and speaking of Jake White, like during your successful time at the Bulls, you got your call up to the Springboks by, i.e., Jake White, who was the head coach. So talk to me about the day, like, because I've got some Springbok friends, Pagwe Sharks, who tell me about, no, you get told, like, weeks or days before, so that when, TV announcement. But Galamin, Jake White, what okay, you're in the team. Like, talk to me about that.
Yeah, you obviously get the call a couple of weeks, a couple of days before it's announced to the media. And for me, I remember I was at Loftus and I was in the team doctor's rooms, and I got a call from the president of SARU, Oregon Hoskins, at the time.
Wow.
Saying that I'm going to be part of the Springbok squad. And I think at first you don't believe the call, even though you want it so badly. But when it's there in front of you, you don't sort of like pinch yourself. Is this for real? Is this a prank? Because players like to play pranks amongst each other. But I think once it sinks in, you think about all the hard work, all the injuries that you've been through, the ups and downs. Finally, and becoming the first Springbok in your family is also something that is special, that no one can take away from. And I think especially for my parents, who, as parents sacrifice so much for their kids. And for my dad that played the game, unfortunately played during the times where, black players were not selected for Springbok colors. And, just phoning him and telling him, listen, Dad, I've been selected from the Springboks. And the joy that he felt, and all the times where he used to wake us up at 4:00 in the morning to go run and train, and where we used to hate him for that, but now it's all paying off. So it's a lot. It's an achievement that not only for yourself but for your family. So I think being a Bok is the ultimate, and obviously representing them in the World Cup is also something special. And
talk to me about that. Like that was my next thing. I mean, you had such a fantastic 07, which you beat your brother's team in the final right here in Durban.
Correct.
Like, I replayed while I was making notes, I was rewatching that game again, and I'm like, wow, like to think this man went on to represent us, not only winning Super 14 at that stage, but now coming to Webb Ellis. Like, that was an amazing 2007 for you, Akona.
Yeah, I know 07 was a year that I think most of the guys that played there will always remember. Starting up in Durban against the Sharks in the final. And if you think about it, both teams had good season that year.
100%.
We beat the Crusaders at home in the semi-final, which is a very good side who has got a very good record in the Super Rugby. So, and the Sharks, I think they beat the Blues in the semi-final in Durban. So it was a very good year for South Africa. And growing up in Durban was always going to be tough, because they had a very good side. They had a couple of Springbok players in their side. John Smith, the Springbok captain, was there. Butch James, Percy Montgomery, JP Peterson. So I think both teams deserve to be in the final because of how they played during the entire season. And I think for us, the way we won the game was, not. I don't think it's. People say it's by luck, but I don't think it's luck. Well, Gary Player usually says you create your own luck. We worked very hard for that season. We sacrificed a lot, and we put in so much. And no disrespect to the Sharks, I believe also worked as hard or even harder. But I think we deserved to lift the trophy, and for Brian to run into a gap that opened up, like that was something special. And
that was incredible.
I think for us to actually win it at that time, time was finished, and it was a close game up until the end where Albert van der Berg scored, I think, with 3 minutes or 4 minutes left in the game. And the team talk we had behind the poles from Victor and some of the senior players, just making us believe that it's not over. We can still win this game. And fortunately, what worked well for us as well, Franz Versteyn missed the kick to to the polls. So which gave us hope. And, as you know, we ended up winning that season. So I think, moving forward with that, we sort of knew that it will be a very successful year for the Springboks because of how we performed build up to the World Cup. Even though we had some tough times, building up to the year, where there was a time where coach was almost getting fired because of, lack of good results, which is understandable because, South Africans love a good winning side, and especially a good winning Springbok side. But, sometimes we forget that we're going to go through challenges and tough times before we get the good times. So fast forward 2007 in France, playing England in the final was special. And we had beaten England by a big margin in the pool games. And, John Smith as a captain, said to us, listen, we're going to face a different England side. Yes, they were going through some, changing room issues, but in the final, anything can happen. We've seen finals where we thought it will go one way, it goes the other way. So you never know. But I think, the amount of experience in the side, Os Durant, who's won it in 95, Piercy Montgomery, youngsters JP and Francis Steyn. So the mixture was good. And, a lot of people don't understand that the planning for that 2007 started in 2004 when Joik got the job. So, the planning was there from then, to get to that stage and actually perform at your peak. So it was not, only in 2006 or 2005 or 2007. In 2004, the first thing that Jake said to the players is that we're going to win the World Cup in 2007. So planting the seed bit by bit so that the players can actually start believing it and seeing it happening. So, to cut the story short, won the World Cup. And I think, as sports people, you don't understand the impact it has on the people of your country when you win such a trophy, up until you come back and you see the smiles, packed airport, packed streets, kids crying, just to catch a glimpse of the Webb Ellis, to catch a glimpse of players, and just touring the country, just seeing the smiles, the happy faces is, I think it's worth more than anything that you can think of. And I think for us as players, it gives us that sort of satisfaction that, yeah, you've done something special, yeah.
Lastly, on that, because it's often the media, and I saw an article now comparing the 07 to 2019. Like, what are your thoughts on that? And yes, you can be biased, but which in your mind do you feel has a bigger impact, whether it's by squads or whether it's by the moment? Which one do you think it was better, having won it in 07?
Yeah, it's a tough one, that because obviously 07 will always be my favorite, and purely because I was part of that and I experienced the excitement, the joy. I was there firsthand. I know what it feels like. But as a South African, 2019 was special. Siamthanda Kolisi being the first black captain. And, we all know the sport has always been seen as a white dominant sport. And now to have a black captain representing and showing young kids from Ezwide, Mthatha, Ekomani, that it's possible. And I think purely because of that, for me, 2019 has to be, a special one, and it helped unite the country. And I think we're seeing the impact of Osia, what they've done, Nomakazole Mapimpi. And fortunately for them, social media has made, the game aware to people that were not even sport people. And for example, I'll go to 2023. I would see posts from guys where I've never thought I would see him wearing a Springbok jersey or anyone, but the impact that they've done, to the whole country, everyone was behind them, and it made us forget about our problems, and just to be happy and enjoy what the boys have done. And we know sports, what it does. Dr. Mandela said it, it unites everyone and it makes everyone happy. And that's what these guys have done. So, yes, you can't compare the two squads, but I think this squad, of 2019 and 2023 will go down as one of the best squads to play for Springboks.
Type of vibes. Soon after that, you amassed number of caps, a number of tries for your Bulls, and then the day Mtata, we like, you retired, you hanged up your boots, and you became a citizen just like us. So so how has the brand like Hollywoodbets aligned yourself with you, because I just recently found out that you also have a business with you and your brother. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, so I think, sport especially, there comes a time where the body can't carry you anymore. You take longer to recover. Your mind is not driven anymore. And it's life. It happens. It happens to everyone. No one can play, especially rugby, for more than 20 years. It's impossible. Other sports, yes, golf and others, you can, but there comes a time where you have to sit back and stop. So that time came. And fortunately for me, I was able to partner up with Hollywoodbets, which is the most the thing that I love about Hollywoodbets is about family, and family is so important to me. They make you feel like you are part of the family. Everything that you do, they support, and obviously with our foundation as well and our agency, they were able to support us. So they understand our values and they give back, because I think it's important. If you've achieved so much in your life and you are blessed, you must be able to open the doors for the young ones that are coming, and you can't just waste all that time that you've experienced at that top level and let it not be useful. So partnering up with Hollywoodbets has helped us to to give back and help where we feel that there needs to be assistance in terms of kids that wouldn't be able to experience opportunities, but Hollywoodbets was able to assist us with that. So it's a relationship that has been going for some time, and I hope that it will go on forever, because I feel there's so much that we can do. There's so much help that needs to be done out there, and I'm sure we'll do great things going forward as well.
Lastly, hate to do this to you, but Sharkfest is coming up 17th of February. You're the Sharks head coach now. What is your message to the team? They're playing DHL Stormers. Of course, it's well documented the Sharks season currently. Upudwako told me, all that he could as a former player himself, which was really special to hear. But from the outside looking in, what is your message to the team and to the fans actually that are going to be lined up, buying tickets and wanting to watch the boys?
Yeah. Well, I think for me, first of all, it's unfortunate that the Sharks are going through what they're going through currently, because they have the quality of players. They have very good Springbok players, and they also have very good up-and-coming players. And unfortunately, sometimes when you go through a coach change, it does take time. We, as a Bulls side, also went through a phase where we were not doing well with the results. But I think the team the scores have been close. 1 point there, 2 points there. And I remember I was listening to their captain Ulukanyo, and he mentioned that it's the soft moments that are killing them. And I understand if you go through a change of a style of play, you will have those soft moments up until everyone's comfortable with the way that you guys are playing. So it's not nice to see a Sharks team at the bottom of the Vodacom URC, but I think everyone understands that it will take time. Unfortunately, supporters are not they don't take lightly to a losing side. They want to see results now, but sometimes it doesn't work like that. So supporters, yes, let's stick behind the boys. They want to do well, they want to make you guys proud, but unfortunately the results are not coming. And if you look at the Challenge Cup, they finished on top of the pool, so there is a chance that they will qualify for the Champions Cup next season. But for me as an outsider, let's just support them. They put their bodies on the line every weekend. They obviously not happy with the results, but with the support of the players and the coaching staff, sooner or later the tide will turn. And fans must go out and fill up the Hollywoodbets Stadium and just support the team. And sooner or later, like I said, the results will come.
Well, I mean, there you have it. I wish Tingatela now be forever. There's so much we can not only learn from you, but just hear some of the stories, and I can only imagine there's so many others. Like, my mind is just racing, but we're gonna end it there for now. But Tufunuti enkosi Nyan for not only being a pillar for Tina Nyama, who coming from whether it's the rural areas or even in places like Eastern Cape that can dream to play in a Blue Bulls, to play in a Hollywoodbets Sharks, to play in these even Springboks, because you've done it. You've had the glory, still are reaping in the glory, and even after rugby, to be partnered with such beautiful brands, including Hollywoodbets and Foundation. So that's, to me, is a recipe for success. And again, I said in the beginning, you walked, so Tina, we can follow and run. And I want to thank you for this time. Thank you for being the man and that you are. And we look forward to welcoming you in events. Hollywood, Durban July is coming. Your horse is there. Your horse is there.
To Ipigo actually won last week. So
shout out.
Yes.
Are you really into like do you bet? Like do you often find yourself, okay, Pigo, let me just put some money in there? Or
listen, Pigo is my lady and she won. So I made some money last week. So yeah, I'm happy.
Nice. There's events like that coming through, but we're looking forward for you to come to Durban soon. Your brother's such a big golfer. I'm assuming you too.
I'm the better golfer.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. I would like to put money on that. I'll put money on
that. I know myself.
I'll just ask them for event sends, then we can see who's the better. I think that would be a good competition, to be honest.
Yeah.
To be honest. But Tata, thank you really, really for being the man that you are and a pioneer. And look forward to hearing from you in the next couple of days or weeks and stuff.
Thank you, Mhlonishwa. I'm sure we'll do lots of chats. Thank you.
100%. Thank you. Now go, Jackie.
Bye-bye, Jackie.
Bye.